Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Youth Engagement Committee. Our first order of business is to first declare any potential conflicts of interest that may have arisen since our last meeting. Does any member of the committee have any conflicts of interest they would like to disclose at this time? Hearing none, we'll move to our next agenda item, which is the approval of the agenda. The agenda was circulated to all members this week. Has everyone had a chance to review that agenda? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve that agenda.
Motion to approve.
Okay, moved by Emma. Do I have a seconder? From Robin. Okay. The agenda is approved as circulated. You'll also know that we had meeting minutes that were circulated from the our last meeting in September. Those meeting minutes were sent to all committee members, and everyone has had a chance to review those. Okay. Any changes to those meeting minutes? Okay. I'll ask for a motion to approve those meeting minutes. Okay, and a seconder? Emma. Okay, great, thank you. Moving right along. We have a relatively short agenda today. 2 items, one being a further discussion on our short-term rental regulation recommendations, and then a little bit of an overview on an upcoming event that we're partnering with Fusion Charlottetown on. I'll start with the short-term rental regulation recommendations. As you know, our committee has spent some time reviewing the status of short-term rentals in Charlottetown, and in particular the impact it has had on young people in Charlottetown. We have heard loud and clear from the youth of Charlottetown that this is something that is top of mind for them, and especially in regards to Airbnbs, short-term rentals, that they should be regulated. As a result of our feedback and our review of the presentation at the last public meeting, our committee had recommended to the Charlottetown Council and the Planning Board that they go with scenario 1 or 2, which was the regulation of Airbnbs in homes that were not occupied by the owner, as well as apartments. At the start of the meeting today, I circulated an article from CBC, which gives an overview of the change in I guess, perspective the city of Charlottetown has had, and the fact that they are now leading with the idea that scenario 1 or 2 should be adopted moving forward. This is great news for young people in PE in Charlottetown, as this means that the city is looking at making regulations to those Airbnbs, which would in turn open up more housing units on the market, which again is something that young people are certainly in need of. The one thing I wanted to highlight on this issue is that there is another public meeting planned for November, and I would encourage all of you to attend that meeting. I'll circulate, or I'll have Doug circulate some further details on that, and so that you can, I believe the last one you had to reserve tickets in advance, but I'm not sure what the protocol is for this one, but I'll certainly have that circulated to you all so that you can have the opportunity to attend that meeting. As I anticipate we'll hear more from, again, young people on the issue, but as well, I'm sure now that based on the recommendations that are being put forward by the planning board of the city, that we'll hear more from short-term rental operators as well at that meeting. So I think it would be a valuable thing for our committee to attend. Other than that, the short-term rental discussion continues. However, I believe that our attendance at the public meeting and any feedback we can provide to the planning board on behalf of young people post-public meeting will be welcomed and will be a good idea from our committee to continue to do that. I think that we added a valuable voice to that conversation, especially when we are an advisory board of the city of Charlottetown, and they do take what we advise into consideration, so we should continue to do so. Moving right along to our other agenda item for today is, as you recall from our last meeting, we had a presentation from Fusion Charlottetown on a series of events they were planning in regards to engagement in the upcoming municipal election. After some discussion with our committee, we had thought it would be best that we certainly would partner with them on the first event, as we were slightly unclear of what the three events would do, and especially since one of our goals was to encourage people to be involved in the municipal election, and we thought that we had kind of had a discussion on the fact that perhaps three events would almost convolute the conversation a little bit as well. Having the last event geared towards possible candidates, we felt was a little late in the process to do so. After some conversations with Fusion Charlottetown, and actually on their own, Fusion had decided to drop one of those events, the middle event, and based on our feedback, we've looking at making the event more of a information session on what the city of Charlottetown is and everything that the city provides and services, all those sorts of things, but also then geared towards important dates of the election, how to run, how to get involved. So it certainly is more of what we had envisioned our event to be. That event is tentatively booked for November 8th, and Fusion has booked the Poorhouse as the venue for that. Poorhouse is the room above Old Triangle. If anyone has never been there before, that's where it's located. They are planning on releasing some advertising materials in the next week or so you'll see those. I think a Facebook group is being created, and I'll hopefully be able to circulate that link to you all as well, so you can see more information on that. They've asked in particular that our committee be responsible for the section of the evening pertaining to the education piece around the city of Charlottetown. I've kind of taken that on, and I've met with Fusion a couple times on that. Simply, it's going to be 5 or 10 minutes on just giving an overview of the city, and a lot of the information just taken from the city website and things like that. So my role in that evening will simply be just to talk about the city of Charlottetown, what the departments are, who the mayor is, who the city councilors are, and they felt that our committee would be the best fit to do that portion, as we are the advisory committee for City of Charlottetown and young people. So it makes sense for us to be also telling youth about the city and what it does. There will also be a second piece on education on how to get involved, whether that'll be quite broad in that it can be going to meetings, joining an advisory council, working on a campaign or volunteering on a campaign or being a candidate. So they're really trying to capture kind of all those different types of people that may want to be involved, which I think is more geared towards what we had envisioned, getting people excited about the municipal election, getting potential candidates to start thinking about it, those sorts of things. So that will be kind of the first part of the evening, and then the other part, which I think is also going to be quite valuable for our committee, is that it will be more of a brainstorming, getting feedback from attendees on what sorts of things they'd like to see change in the city, what sort of election issues might be top of mind for them. So again, a valuable time for us to then gather some information and see what challenges and opportunities that young people might see in the city. So with that being said, our committee doesn't really have too much to do with the event, other than I believe we provided some valuable feedback on how we think the event should be structured, and as well, I encourage all of you to attend, and we can certainly use all that information that we gather as to kind of help our committee make some more decisions moving forward. Other than that, we were going to discuss whether or not there is room for us to make a request for funding for that event to council. As it stands, I don't believe there's much of a budget associated with the event. So what I've asked Fusion to do is to provide us with what they think their costs would be, so that we could potentially look at making a request as a way to support them in their event. Doug has mentioned that there is a strategic priorities and intergovernmental committee meeting next week, so that if we did want to make a request, he could do that on our behalf prior to their meeting. So just waiting. I'm going to reach out to Fusion to ask if they have any ideas of perhaps what we could do to contribute to that financially. And if there really isn't any room for us, then that's fine as well. We don't need to make that request, and perhaps save it for something later on if we want to do something on our own, or may need funds for another project. In terms of that discussion item, there really isn't much more to add, other than I encourage you to join the Facebook group, share the link as well once it's created, and then attend that event. So it's really, there's some events upcoming in November that I'm encouraging the committee members to attend. With that being said, I did suggest that this would be a quick meeting today. What I am proposing is that we move to the next agenda item, which is the introduction of new business. One of the action items from our last agenda item, our last agenda, was the discussion on gender neutral washrooms and how we were going to move forward with that. I believe that where that was almost left off was Sam was going to look into a couple things for us. She's not here today, so we'll probably just park that agenda item until she's able to attend and give us a little bit more of an update on that front. That being said, I believe if anyone doesn't have any other new business, that might be the meeting for today, as we're looking towards that planning meeting as well as the event in November with Fusion Charlottetown. So it's really where our efforts are focused right now. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add as an item under new business? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for.
Sorry, I just have a quick question. I know we had planned, for our events, we had planned to have a singer and some top prizes. I was thinking those stuff, or we canceled everything.
I think there's still talk of a door prize. I don't think they're looking at having any entertainment now. I don't think that's not really where they're geared towards now, but I can look into whether there's going to be a door prize and that could be something that we look to help contribute to as well. Okay? All right, so hearing no additional items of new business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, motion moved by Emma. Do I have a seconder? Seconder. Okay, all in favor of adjourning the meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye, okay. All right, thank you very much, everyone.